voiceless.
If you are not idle, nobody will probably come and encourage you to join their gang or the group.
Yes. To keep Nigeria one is a must that must be done. Nigeria is not going to break.
So if I want to buy this one now, how much you go sell this one?
I will free give you 500.
Sure? This one?
Yes.
This small banana?
Yes.
I know that Buhari can do it.
He has a lot of plans. We should be praying for him. He's a human being. Anything can happen to anybody.
The majority of the law they pass belong to them, to favor them, not the masses in Nigeria.
If we want to change, let's change generally. Don't let's change half. Let's change generally.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
It's another episode of your daily program, The People. I'm your host, Emmanuel Ajayi, on the streets, getting the pulse of Nigerians on topical matters. This time around, we'll be talking concerning the comments made by the president of Nigeria to some certain youth in the country as being lazy. And what are Nigerians saying concerning this one? Well, let's hit the streets to feel the pulse of Nigerians on this matter. See you more on the streets.
To a business, I have a salon. I'm a stylist, so I have a lot of work I'm doing. I'm a sportman. I'm a rider for Lagos State. I'm a cyclist for Lagos State. At the same time, I'm into a property estate agent.
So you believe you are very agile?
Yes. You
are not into fraud?
No.
Are you a lazy person?
No, I'm not a lazy person.
Are you sure? What do you do?
I'm a driver. Yeah, I'm a taxi driver.
So how much do you make per day?
Now the way the country be now, before person can make money now, wahala.
Are you a lazy Nigerian?
No, I'm not.
Tell me what you do.
I teach.
You teach?
Yeah.
So, and are you comfortable with what you're doing?
I am. That's what I love doing, so I'm very much
Can you
comfortable.
teach children at home at the moment?
Yes, I can.
We gotta do something.
Hello. Announce the name of any person, animal, place, or things.
I'm a farmer.
You're a farmer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my farm over there. I'm going to the farm now.
So how much do you make per day or per week?
A week, I made like 30,000 naira.
Really?
Yeah.
On your farm?
On my farm, after buying fertilizer, buying manure, paid people that are working for me. When I saw, because I used to supply for restaurants. So after in the weekend, I made like 30,000.
That means you're comfortable?
Not really, but I thank God.
I'll never be a lazy Nigerian, never.
Are you sure?
I'm not lazy.
What do you do?
Nigeria is the most hard-working people in this planet. Nigerians, the youth of Nigeria is the most hard-working Nigerians on this planet.
What do you do?
I'm a businessman.
What kind of business do you do?
I'm into interior. I do painting, I do screeding and POP. That's what I do.
Are you comfortable with what you're doing?
Of course, I'm okay. I'm comfortable.
Lazy Nigerian?
No, I'm not a lazy of Nigeria.
You're not a lazy person?
I'm not a lazy person.
I can see you are sweating. Are you hardworking?
Yes, I'm hardworking in Nigeria.
What do you do?
I'm doing mechanic engineer. Yeah.
Really? Are you comfortable with what you're doing?
Very sure.
Yeah, I'm not. How can I be? Yeah, like I wake up very early in the morning, 5:30, and then I get back home very late, around 9:10. So how can I be lazy? It's almost impossible. And we are into books, book distribution, and then we also do trainings. Yeah, so that's the kind of job I do. And then I also do other jobs part-time. And when I get home at night, I also do a little coding for myself. So for me, I don't understand. When you talk about laziness, I don't think that's in my DNA, and even in other Nigerians' DNA too.
You are not a lazy Nigerian?
At all, I'm never a lazy Nigerian.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you do?
I'm an engineer, a networking engineer.
So how rigorous is your work?
Well, my work
It's very cool, nice. I'm into CCTV, IP cameras, installation and supplies.
And are you comfortable with what you're doing?
Very much comfortable.
Well then, are you a lazy Nigerian?
I'm not a lazy Nigerian, bro.
Really?
Yep.
I can see you even carrying this heavy load of bag. Well, he's saying he's not a lazy person. Tell me, what do you do?
Yo, I'm a graduate, but still searching for job.
No, you're still searching.
Yeah.
Is that why you're carrying this bag?
No, I went to pick. I went for a weekend. I went to visit a friend. I'm just coming from a friend.
So you believe you're not lazy?
I'm not a lazy
So
Nigerian.
if you're given work to do, you work.
If the opportunity is given to me today, I will embrace it.
You're not waiting for oil money.
I'm not waiting for any kind of joy that come my way. I will embrace it for now.
Are you a lazy Nigerian?
No,
Tell me, how do you mean? What do you do?
I'm a student.
You're a student.
Yeah.
So you believe if you're out of school, you work.
Sure, yeah.
You will not wait for oil money.
No.
Really?
Yeah, no.
So aside from going to school, what other things are you doing?
Actually, I want to learn makeup artistry. So that,
You believe that will add more income to you?
yes. I'm going to fashion designer stuff.
So you see yourself as hardworking Nigerian.
Yeah, sure.
Are you a lazy Nigerian?
No.
Really?
How can I be a lazy Nigerian? I wake up as early as 5 a.m. to go to my office at VI, and I come back as late as 8, 9 p.m. So how can you call me like a lazy Nigerian? If I'm lazy, of course, I'll be sleeping in my house, and I wait for federal government to come and take care of my needs. But because I'm not a lazy Nigerian, that is why I'm going to work. And I work because I want to take care of my family.
Are you okay with what you're doing?
Yes, of course. For now, I'm very comfortable with what I'm doing.
You're okay with what they do? They're okay.
I know they're okay.
No, they're okay.
They're okay with the thing what I'm doing. Yes.
Tell me, how much do they make per day?
They make profit now. When I'm working, I'm see money. I cannot tell you how much when I'm seeing.
That's why you are so fat like this.
And so I got to do me now.
You sure say they add work, they work where?
I know here. I know here.
You don't hear anything?
Yes, no here English.
What do you do?
I'm a mechanic engineer.
Are you okay with what you're doing?
I'm not okay like that because not all the time I used to get work.
So you're not getting work now?
I'm getting work, but not all the time. Before you get another one, you do maybe the money I finish.
An average Nigerian youth can live anywhere in the world and we would live fine. Whether or not we are empowered, but please know that we still survive and we are still positive. You know, look at the entertainment industry. We are making it happen. Football, music, whatever, all of the talents that we have, we are making it happen. And we will keep striving to make sure that we take the country to a greater height.
Because I'm not.
Are you sure you're not lazy?
No, I'm not lazy.
Tell me, what do you do? What do you do?
I'm a makeup artist and I also bake.
You also do what?
I bake.
You bake?
For a living. So I'm not lazy.
So how much do you make per day?
Depending on what I do, if I bake the wedding cake, I get up to 7,000 naira, and if I'm doing makeup for like bridal shower or a bride, I get like 70 to 8,000 or even 100 sometimes. So I'm not lazy.
So are you comfortable with what you're doing?
It's better than working for someone that work from Monday to Saturday, and the end of the day I have to wait for 30 days to get my pay when I know within a week I can get up to what somebody else is waiting for 30 days to get. So I'm not lazy either.
Every morning to go to my office, and I have what I'm doing. I'm doing business.
Aside from being a civil servant, you do business too?
Yes, I do business.
So you see yourself as hardworking?
Very, very hardworking. And I also see Nigeria's youth as very, very hardworking. I'm hardworking. So I take myself as an example. I'm hardworking.
Go get a job?
I sell market.
So as they sell market, the money no dey come in?
The money no come as before that I used to use. Something that's so called the market.
You don't get handwork?
No.
Why?
Because there is no money to learn work. If I have money, I will learn more work for myself. But no.
So are you not planning to at least go and go somewhere, beg them for you to just learn?
I'm planning to learn a work, but when there is money, I will learn.
Why will you wait to get money?
I don't know what to say. Nigeria is so, I don't know, things so
Why
tough.
Nigeria? Why not yourself?
But we are in Nigeria. This Nigeria is supposed to be better for poor people, but we like this, we are suffering.
Why not try to do something to better your life?
If I have the money, I will do for something that will
Why
better.
must you wait to have the money?
So there's things very costly. But when we buy something, maybe 10 times, we will not see it 2 times. I will feel my children. Which one will take care of myself? Which one will learn the work?
Welcome back. This is our draw the curtain on your darling program, The People. Nigerian talking concerning the comments made by the President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. It is expected that young Nigerians in Nigeria will be useful for the greatness of this country. Till I come your way again with another bumper package of your darling program, The People. I remain your indefatigable advocate for the people, Emmanuel Ajayi. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. Bye for now.
The people, the people, the people, giving voice to the voiceless.
If you are not idle, nobody will probably come and encourage you to join their gang or the group.
Yes. To keep Nigeria one is a must that must be done. Nigeria is not going to break.
So if I want to buy this one now, how much you go sell this one?
I will give you 500.
Sure? This one?
Yes.
This small banana?
Yes.
I know that Buhari can do it. He has a lot of plans.
We should be praying for him. He's a human being. Anything can happen to anybody.
The authority of the law they pass belongs to them, to favor them, not the masses in Nigeria.
If we want to change, let's change generally. Don't let's change half. Let's change generally.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Every society builds its capacity through its various experience, comprising the good, the bad, and the ugly. All these help to decide the destiny of a people for a better tomorrow. On this week's edition of Northern Reports, we are bringing you the mix of these experiences that come with lessons that will help to make the big North better. I am Osaitino Sadibame, your uncle on the program. Welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari's declaration to contest for the 2019 general election is still gathering momentum of public reaction. While some supporters and his base in Kaduna are in sync with the president's aspiration to recontest for the office of the president, interestingly, the move is one that is being executed by a coalition of civil society.
Members of the group, who were in hundreds, chanted "Say Baba, 4+4, promised to support APC in the 2019 elections. Chairman of the group says since the inception of the APC government in 2015, there have been massive progress in the area of security, economy, and job creation. They say President Muhammadu Buhari and Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai both deserve a second term.
These facts endeavor us to arrive at the conclusion that His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, along with Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, meet our criteria for endorsement.
The group further emphasizes that the recent release of looters list is a clear testimony of the giant strides of the sitting government. In our humble estimation,
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is the best Nigeria, indeed Nigerians, is blessed with. At this junction, it is necessary to state the obvious World leaders, collectively as individuals, have claimed the leadership quality of Mr. President in the fight against terrorism, graft, corruption, which has been the bane of Nigeria underlying growth. Once upon a time, sacred cows have been demystified, publicly disgraced. The public release of the looters list is a vivid example. The issue of security cannot be overemphasized, considering the divisive and tactical approach, the decisive and tactical approach the federal government adopts in decimating the Boko Haram insurgents.
They call on other Nigerians to support the president's administration, especially in its quest to rid the nation of corruption and insecurity.
The PDP fold seemed to be swelling in Kaduna State. The party recently received some 3,000 members who defected from the All Progressive Congress to the People's Democratic Party in the week. A boom, you would say, has come to the party because they all need these numbers at the election. But what could have informed this decision?
As the 2019 general elections draws closer, political parties have started regrouping. In Kaduna State, chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Hassan Yet, advises APC members, the campaign to PDP, to be committed to ensuring the party takes over in the forthcoming elections. He adds that the party is working towards taking over at the state and federal level.
They have gone there, they thought they were going to gain something, and now they lost. So it is good that they come back. And I normally say there's nothing wrong in making a mistake, but there's everything wrong if you don't correct it. So they have just corrected it. Let them stand firm. Nobody is going to intimidate us.
Some of the decampees say it has become necessary for them to decamp considering the level of improvement in the PDP, while describing the APC government in Kaduna State as a family and friends affair.
We want to say that before we went back to APC, in the name of they want to change us for good, but we never knew they wanted to change we ourselves. Not be small wahala. The hungry don't pursue us come back. Now we are brought back to PDP. No more hungry again. No more Dankeli again.
We are happy to come back to you. We made a mistake, and whatever we're wrong, we've come back like the prodigal son. I say no more tears.
Stakeholders at the event expressed joy, adding that the party is ready to win the forthcoming elections in the state.
Primaries came up, decided to join us, and other people who don't have political parties
But now most of the women, they hardly see their men providing meals for morning or afternoon or evening. Most homes eat once in a day. Some even hardly find that one meal. So they are tired of the present situation.
Present leadership has failed the people woefully in so many ways. People are losing their jobs every day. People are no longer able to eat their 3 square meals like they used to do in the past.
The People's Democratic Party in Kaduna is appealing to the State Electoral Commission to ensure free, fair and credible elections in the local government council elections next month.
The several punches delivered on corruption by the President Muhammadu Buhari administration has been commended, but stakeholders in Kaduna say the cooperation of lawyers are needed to effectively make success of this fight.
Ending corruption and insecurity in Nigeria are some of the key mantra of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration upon assumption of office. Accordingly, the Kaduna State's Governor Nasir El-Rufai says the contributions of the judiciary in helping government realize these goals have been tremendous, but calls for more cooperation in the ongoing fight against corruption and insecurity. The governor, who was represented by his deputy Bala Bantex and the presiding judge of the Court of Appeal, Uwani Abba, both share the view that there is the need for closer collaboration by lawyers and other stakeholders in order to successfully curb corruption and insecurity in the country.
Corruption and insecurity are 2 major setbacks to the development of any country, because there is no nation that can thrive economically when these 2 major challenges have taken dominance. Because when there is corruption, the economic activities that are supposed to ignite development will be minimal because the country's resources end up in the hands of a very few and consequently creating a huge number of unemployed populace that end up indulging in. For us to tackle these challenges as a nation, there must be collaborative efforts and synergy between government institutions and other stakeholders like the NBA.
Corruption and insecurity has remained a major problem. They are the bane of our development in Nigeria today. They hinder our progress both economically, politically, and socially.
ABBA, as well as the chairman, Nigeria Bar Association, Banawa branch, were also on the same page and saying that legal practitioners must uphold justice and equity in the discharge of their duties, especially as the electioneering period draws closer. They also enjoin other Nigerians to shun all acts of corruption.
Elections coming up just next year, 2019, by the grace of God. You have a lot of challenges ahead of you, both in your positions as prosecuting and defending counsel. But we urge you to uphold dignity and honor in your profession and to abide by the ethics of that noble profession.
These key vices militating against our peaceful and successful existence as a nation. I urge you all to consider this as an opportunity to contribute to the fight against corruption and elimination of insecurity in all ramifications.
The Banawa branch of the Nigeria Bar Association last held its Law Week in 2015. The theme for this year's Law Week is curbing corruption and impunity in Nigeria's socio-economic and legal perspective.
We'll be going on a break here. Please stay tuned. It is your program, not on reports.
Over 2,000 communities in Nigeria, each with its unique story. Some real of comfort, most with its complaints. Whatever the story is from your community, we tell it. Let's journey together through streets, homes, markets, every nook and cranny to tell your story the right and the true way. Community Focus. It's all about you and your community.
Welcome back. The woman is a stabilizing force in her family. She's also doing the same thing in her respective community. This is how she ensures that the Nigerian society is stabilized. In Adamawa State, the Ministry of Women Affairs and the United Nations is collaborating to harness her capacity in this direction for peace building to rebuild the troubled parts of Adamawa State.
Officials of the United Nations Women, Adamawa State Government, and other stakeholders are all in this hall for the unveiling of the Adamawa Peace Architecture Assessment Report, which is aimed at promoting women involvement in all spheres of governance and security. Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, represented by Femi Alaska, appreciates the United Nations and the Adamawa State Government for its continuous support in ensuring that women in communities affected by violence participate in the peace process.
Peace and Security Architecture Platform is designed to be an innovative strategy to advocate for increased awareness of women participation in conflict prevention and management in this part of the country.
UN Women Program Manager Njeri Karuru says she is hopeful that the recommendations contained in the report will be used effectively to reform the peace architecture of Adamawa State.
We've been working on strengthening the engagement of women in peace and security by sensitizing women, by strengthening institutions so that they incorporate more gender perspectives in their institutions. And in doing this, we need an evidence base to show what is it on the ground, what are the gaps, and what can we do differently.
Adamawa State Commissioner for Women Affairs, who appreciates the United Nations for supporting the state in its peace-building efforts, says more needs to be done in the area of women participation in peace-building and decision-making in the society.
They, however, continue
one program for current issues.
To you, it's Friday. Welcome to this edition of your steamy participatory breakfast program called Digest on CoreTV News Lagos. I am Abosede Omowi. Let's bring you the news makings around. Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has stated that the public sector investment in healthcare must be substantially improved. The Vice President stated this at the 58th edition of the annual delegates meeting of the Nigerian Medical Association.
While public sector investment in healthcare must be substantially improved, it is unlikely that it would ever be sufficient. In other words, paying for healthcare from budgets will not be enough to move the needle in healthcare's funding. A robust national health insurance scheme will be required alongside private sector and donor partnership funding in order to truly move the needle in healthcare funding in Nigeria.
And also some of our good hands. We have many good hands who lack of capital, enabling environment for them to do that. But some of the efforts that the executive and the legislative are done in ease of doing business has improved that. I hope that here too we can work out what are those demands that will enable a lot of our well-qualified doctors who have the capacity, they have the ability, but they might not have the funding capacity. And we can see how we can work together to create that funding capacity that will enable those kind of structures to be established here in this country.
Right, and to an issue that, has got everyone talking really about Senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melaye. As the police rearranged and battered Senator Dino Melaye in a Lokoja court, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, is urging the security agencies to ensure that his life is secure before prosecution. Dogara gave the advice while ruling on a matter of personal explanation brought to the floor by Sunday Karimi, lawmaker from Kogi State.
Yesterday, Senator Dino Melaye was arraigned in a court in Abuja for issue that has gotten to do with how they were unable to take him to Lokoja. Today, as I'm talking to you, Senator Dino Melaye was carried in an ambulance to Lokoja, and he was carried with a stretcher to the court.
I don't think we can commit it to any committee by virtue of our rules, except if you want to come by way of a motion, then a committee of the House can now look at it if the motion sells through on the floor of the House.
All right, they're coming from the House of Representatives in that matter that involves the senator representing the Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melaye. Still coming from the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives is urging the federal government to improve the conditions of National Youth Service Corps orientation camps across the country. Presenting the matter to the House under matters of urgent public importance, sponsor of the motion, Mercy and Siegbe, urged from Rivers State, expressed concern over the death of a female youth corps member who died due to poor medical attention following rigorous training being carried out under the mandates of security operatives in the camp.
Disease, a graduate of oil and gas engineering from the University of Port Harcourt, is said to have died as a result of injuries sustained during a man-o-war drilling after falling off the string in course of the drilling exercise at the camp, and those said to have been rushed to the NYSC clinic. The clinic only had youth corps doctors who could do very little to save her life.
What type of training do they get? And number 3, what type of insurance cover our corpers? What type, assuming there's any?
Where simple medical
facilities just to check to see, like in normal paramilitary training, to find out the health status of our kids before they engage in a lot of these running, mountain climbing, and very rigorous exercises are lacking. It's like condemning our children to death.
If those that are in charge of the training of our youths in camp will insist that before you get enlisted in their service, you must be medically fit, do they do the same thing before subjecting these children to the kind of training that they give to them? The answer is no.
Is that beyond even what has happened, which came about by some rigorous training. It was okay when we did youth service several years ago. Now there are so many children, there are so many issues. The kind of training the army gives to these children should be reviewed.
Well, of course, very many Nigerians have been through this process, and very many Nigerians have different views about the NYSC. Well, on one side is the debate that the whole scheme should be scrapped. On another side is the condition of those who go through the service. What's the state of the orientation camps? When they leave camp after 3 weeks, what becomes of them? Where are they posted to? You know, these are really different factors to look into. We know that last week, the president of the Senate, for instance, visited the permanent orientation camp in Yekpata, that Edu local government area of Kwara State, where he hails from, and promised that government would do a total, complete revamp of that facility. So it's not something peculiar to a particular state, but it's something we should take note of and make sure that all 36 states across the Federation and even the Federal Capital Territory camps in those places, you know, must really be taken care of. And more attention should be paid to these people going on the scheme. One of the members there asked a question: what's insurance? What kind of insurance is available to these core members? To find out that it's like nothing really. When anything happens to anyone, the major thing here is maybe the name comes out, you know, in the state magazine, and that is just it. So we should really, you know, value these lives the more and do all we can to ensure that they are properly taken care of. Now, Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Abdulrazak Namda, says the 2018 budget will be laid Tuesday next week. Briefing journalists, Namda assured that everything about the budget will be treated and passed. A public hearing was jointly organized by both chambers of the National Assembly in March regarding the 2018 budget. And since then, much has not been heard about the passage of the proposed 8.6 trillion naira budget.
It was our decision to take 3 days as a sign of protest. For us to even take that decision, we also need to commend us that we have seen the seriousness with which lives of human beings are, and people who even send us here. But there is no need for me to speculate. What I said is that budget is as important as even saving lives. Now, if we have not passed budget at this stage, and there is need for us to go on break, but we feel we can conclude this budget before we observe the break. Why not do the needful by passing the budget and observe our break later? But I am telling you that we will pass this budget, this next week, and we will observe after we have passed the budget by the grace of God.
Right, so Tuesday next week, we expect that the National Assembly would pass the 2018 budget. Of course, when that is done, it then goes to the executive, which would now look through again, and you know, the president would assent to it. But should anything be noticed, like we heard in some years past, some talks about budget padding, you know, including projects that were done originally in the documents there, it might have to linger for some time. But it's very important to know this is the 5th month of the year. In Ekiti State, the All Progressives Congress APC has appointed the governor of Nasarawa State, Umaru Al-Makura, to chair the party's 5-member primary election committee to elect the party's flag bearer for the Ekiti governorship election. APC National Organizing Secretary Osita Izunaso, on behalf of the party's national chairman, John Odigio-Yegun, also inaugurated a 3-member appeal committee in Abuja.
The party is delighted that you graciously accepted to do this onerous responsibility. We are indeed very, very happy. Your Excellency and members of your team. This is a 5-man team comprising of His Excellency Umaru Tanko Amakura as chairman.
I want to assure you, Mr. Chairman, that I have heard attentively your admonition with regard to ensuring that this election is free and fair and without rancors. I believe with the experiences of some of the members of this committee, we should be very resourceful and resort to every available opportunity to ensure a seamless and rancor-free primary election.
Well, the election is fast approaching and all political parties and the gladiators are getting ready for that poll. But that's it on the news making the rounds. Thank you very much for being a part of it. We'll take a moment. When we return, it will be time to review major headlines in some Nigerian newspapers. Stay with us.
Host of your program Abuja Today that brings you highlights of happenings in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory from the Office of the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
I appeal to all of us citizens, leaders, politicians, and all to support this team to be able to restore the Abuja Master Plan.
To the streets that involves every boy, every girl, every man, every woman, and every youth on the streets, unfolding of happenings in the nation's capital territory.
Our challenge here is kidnapping, and the secret is there. It's a very short journey. You don't have to go as far as Abaji before you know what is happening in Kuji.
All of us, we don't know, in short, we don't know where to put head, because definitely our children, they are hungry.
So join me at this time on CoreTV as we take you on a tour on Nigerian seats of power.
So what is 60 Minutes with Angela all about? It's not an interview. I like to think it's a conversation between two people making the news, people who are in the news, and those who become the news. And the whole idea is to inform, to educate, or to clarify, as the case may be. It is an art getting people to answer the questions that everyone is thinking in their minds. And that's what we try to do on 60 Minutes with Angela. I ask all the questions that everyone's thinking about and no one wants to voice. All the questions you always wanted to ask, you get those answers on 60 Minutes with Angela. Every week on this station, 60 Minutes with Angela, getting answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
On Digi 360, we don't just ask the questions.
What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it?
We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action.
People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country? I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly. God forbid that I go to join that ballot.
Digi 360, providing clarity to issues.
This morning,
Nigerians encourage corruption, says University of the Punch newspaper. Alleges Nigerian Governors Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The Daily, every day on CoreTV News.
Welcome back to the program, Core Digest. It's time to review major headlines in some Nigerian newspapers. With me in the studio this morning is Victor Aya. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's begin with Vanguard newspaper. Its main story today: insecurity restructuring. Senate will revisit devolution of powers. Saraki, Southern Middle Belt leaders at National Assembly say Nigeria tottering on edge. At Nigerian system dysfunctioning, call for national emergency. Restate call for true federalism, implementation of 2014 confab report. All right, so Senate says it's, would revisit the issue of devolution of powers. What do you think?
It's long overdue. I'm one of those who have been campaigning and advocating for the restructuring of this country. But those who
restructuring along what lines now? Because people seem to have different meanings of what restructuring means.
Well, restructuring is that the state should have more powers. For instance, the state should have state police, as it is done in other countries. It is not only Nigeria that practices federalism, but what we practice, even though we claim that we are practicing federalism, what we are actually practicing is a unitary system of government.
But one criticism of state police, some say, can state governors who at the moment cannot pay workers' salaries be able to fund the state police?
That's why we are talking about restructuring. When you strangulate the states, how do you expect them to raise money? This is the only country where you claim to be running a federal system of government, whereas the state do not have power to mine what they have. It's not done anywhere. It is only the federal government that has power to mine natural resources. So where do you want the state to come from, to get money from?
All right, let's look at all the headlines here. Court above the masthead. Court refuses Milaye bail, remands him in police custody. Nothing should happen to him. Dogara. Arraignment on stretcher unacceptable. Falano will pass 2018 budget Tuesday. Reps. So finally, we are getting some positive news regarding the 2018 appropriation bill.
Well, to me, as I've said some time ago in another forum, I'm not concerned about budget because budget here in our art has never had a positive impact on our lives.
So what are you concerned about?
Well, what I'm concerned about is that we should return to true federalism where the states will have control over what they have and the state governor will be able to take decision. But what we have today is only one man. A population of 180 million people is tied to one man, just the president. It is whatever the president decides that is binding on the citizen. And that is not the way federation should run.
All right. Nigeria, China sealed $2.4 billion currency swap deal. When will this come into effect? We hope it's as soon as possible.
The question I have asked is that the one that was hyped in, I think, 2016, when there was an agreement between China and Nigeria, before we ran into what is the name of that economic recession that time. What role did China play? What role did the agreement we had there play? It's not going to have any positive impact on us.
All right then. World Press Freedom Day. Minister tasked media on fair reporting. Of course, the media would always make efforts to do that, but government should also take note that there is a Freedom of Information Act, and whenever information is requested, there should be no talks about some official secrets or some kind of embargo on certain information that could help the media in its fair reportage of issues. So some of the headlines: why Buhari stopped over in London. Codeine, drugs firm sacks worker shown in BBC documentary. All right, 2019 will conduct mock election for Buhari, Atiku, others, Northern youth. So what will the mock election,
Well, that is to decide whom they want to support in 2019. because there's disagreement within them now whether they will support Buhari or not. That is why they are talking about that mock primary to decide who they are going to support.
But then, as it is, those are not the only two persons from the north who have indicated interest to vie for the seat of the president in 2019.
Yes, the mention of those two people is not a limitation to others. You know, you cannot, if they are 100, they cannot mention 100.
All of them.
Yeah.
Okay, both mishap, family of 8, 14 others die in Akwa Ibom. Very sad. Lagos lawyer stabs husband to death, chops off his manhood. 13 killed in Zamfara, fresh attack, 15 feared dead in Adamawa. All these killings have to stop.
They have to stop, but there must be a political will before they can stop.
You think the political will isn't there?
It's not there. If it is there, it would have stopped ever since. You don't forget that the fact that Operation Python Dance was declared in the southeast, and today are you still hearing about IPOP that was constituted by people that were not carrying arms, were proscribed and described as a terrorist group. But you have a group of people who are hacking down people every day, and they have not been proscribed. They have not been described as a terrorist group. So you can see the difference between the treatment, meted out on IPOP and what is happening today. Has anybody been arrested since all these killings have been taking place?
Well, the issue is, are these people even known? Because before now the argument was that these people are herdsmen, that all of this resulted from clashes between herdsmen and farmers. But as time progressed, some began to say, okay, this has nothing to do with herdsmen, because the average herdsman, he only goes around with a stick and maybe a dagger. That's like worst case scenario. But these are people bearing arms, AK-47 rifles, hacking people down, shooting people down.
If they are not to be described as herdsmen, how do you describe them? They go about with cattle. So how do you describe
But if they
them?
really go about with cattle,
yes.
And they hit a community, hack some people down, how quickly can they escape with their cattle? Considering they go about with,
the political will is not there to find them. That's why we are saying the political will is not there. The way they descended on the Nigeria Delta militars, are you still hearing about them? The way they descended on IPOP, are you still hearing about that? Why is it that the same measures are not being put forward towards these people?
But
and again, is it our duty, your duty or my duty, to find out whether they are herdsmen or not? Why do we have the armed forces that are being paid heavily, that every year the budget for defense has always been the highest since I was born?
All right, we'll focus on this some other day. The Mr. and Mrs. column on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. The Mr. is saying, I told you that I don't like peanuts. If you must serve anything alongside my food, it should be cashew nuts. Then the woman replies, whenever you give me peanuts to prepare food, expect peanuts. If you increase the cash, you'll get cashew nuts. All right, the Guardian newspaper. President Buhari's London stopover stirs speculations. It was to refuel repair jet, says presidency. PDP condemns secrecy over itinerary. Aid faults media over Trump's remarks on killings in Nigeria. All right, so the president met with U.S. President Donald Trump, and on his way back stopped over in London, but that has raised a lot of furor out there.
It will always be so, because if you don't give information to the people, then there will be speculation. It is the presidency that is giving room for speculation, and people will always talk when you don't give information. And that is why in the advanced country, whatever their leaders do, they put it out to the public so that there will be no speculation.
All right then. Nigeria, China sealed $2.5 billion currency swap deal. Expert urges vigilance on conversion rate. It may not make significant impact. That's another position. Judge remands Milaye, 2 others in police custody till June 11th. Senate probes alleged missing 44 billion naira military pension. Over time, the Senate always carries out oversight function, probing deals, probing ministries, departments, and agencies. How would you describe, results of such probes? Because here now, another probe is to take place.
They will continue to be probing because, as I've said before, when decisions are taken and things are done in secrecy, the question will be raised. But if you do something openly and everybody have access to information, there will be no need for probing.
So I believe the Senate could actually carry out a very fair probe into this issue and come up with a resolution.
It is their duty to investigate anything if it is not clear.
All right,
so
then.
they are not acting outside their boundary.
Okay. Buhari decries negative impact of strike on health sector. Of course, I think it's really serious. The Joint Health Sector Union members are on strike. So it means that it's only medical doctors that you have in hospitals, and it's government-owned hospitals. They cannot handle everything, can they?
They cannot. But the question we should answer ourselves is that as the leadership of this country are always visiting foreign hospitals, how can the hospital be functional here? The question we should ask ourselves is that the way our leaders are patronizing foreign hospital, is that how the leadership of those countries are patronizing foreign hospital and they have functional hospitals? That is the question we should have answer ourselves.
So to effect a policy that ensures that all persons in public offices stay back home and get treated, how do we get that?
I've written about that for us to get functional education, the leaders, the children of the leaders must school here. For us to get functional hospitals, our leaders here must patronize our hospitals here instead of going to foreign hospitals. The question we should answer ourselves is that how the leaders of other countries are patronizing foreign hospitals and they have functional hospitals.
Right, the Punch newspaper is next. South Middle Belt leaders to National Assembly restructure, save Nigeria. Elder statesmen back polls reordering, berates Buhari's security chiefs over killings. How tenable, how effective do you think restructuring will be in solving the myriads of challenges we have in Nigeria?
It will go a long way too. It may not solve all the problems, but it will solve majority of our problems.
Because one issue some people have been raising is that, okay, more states want to be, more groups of people want to break off and be states themselves, and different talks go to the United Delta, for instance. It's said that an ethnic group is probably lording itself over another, and the different stories like that. So the question is, if each of the states still have power, if maybe it's broken down into regions, and each region, I mean, everyone is being governed based on regionalization, then these issues could still persist, considering it's the same people still making up that structure.
Nobody is talking about breaking up of the country.
Not breaking up. I said region. No, I didn't say breaking up.
Even going to region, nobody is talking about regions. Okay. It was not the regions that made the regions to be effective there. It was because they were practicing true federalism, whereby the regions, they had more power. Nobody is saying that we should collapse 36 states into 3 regions. That would be too much. Don't forget the fact that some of the states are bigger than many countries. Bahamas is just 300,000. There is no state in Nigeria that is less than 2 million people. So why should somebody say that the states are too many or that? No, that's not the issue. Right. The states should have more power. For instance, if the Benue state should have a state police now, the state police will not sit down and watch its own people be hacked down by foreigners. That's what we are saying. There should be state police. The states should have power to build railway. As it is today, state cannot build railway. What is wrong if a state should build railway? How does that prevent the federal government from existence?
Well, let's please look at all the stories here. 10 died, 20 injured in Taraba tanker fire. Very sad. 3 killed as hoodlums clash in Ibadan. Lagos lawyer kills husband, cuts off private parts. $496 million aircraft. Senate panel fails to present probe report. So when is that coming now? Above the masthead, Buhari returns to Nigeria. PFN gives president 1 month deadline on killings. Court remands Milaye in police custody till June 11, 2019. Polls. INEC bars parties without officers. Releases report on underage voting today. Okay, so we hope to see what that report is about. Underage voting.
Yeah.
Okay. And the PFN is giving the president 1 month deadline to end the killings.
Well, I don't think that will solve the problem, because the political will is not there.
Political will. Keep talking about political will.
Yes.
Because that's the same issue a lot of people raise about the previous administration of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. People talked about that there was no political will. A lot of people keep saying that.
If the way is there, something will be accomplished. I just gave instances of the Niger Delta militants and the IPOB. Are you still hearing about IPOB?
But then if we look back to the period pre the elections, the issue of security, economy, and corruption are three major issues that then APC was really talking about while it's campaigned, and eventually it's won, and it's in power now.
That is just to get the vote of the people. They are there already and they are enjoying themselves. So whether they perform, they don't perform, that is not their concern. To you as a journalist, how do you assess them? Have they performed well in these three items you mentioned to your own assessment?
Well, I asked them and they will tell you they've done something.
And they will say so because they are in government. Every government will praise itself. Right, they are enjoying their salaries and allowances. Why would they not praise themselves? But it is not them that will praise themselves. It is we who evaluate them. You can't be a judge in your own case.
All right then. The Nation newspaper. Presidency hits Obasanjo over Buhari's visits to U.S. President got all he wanted from Trump. Plans to return Alamesega's $1 million loot on the way. We seem to be expecting quite a number of loots. Abacha, Alamesega, different.
Yes. The issue is that the one that have been returned, what have they done with it? That's the question.
What do you expect to be done with the loot when it's returned?
It should be plugged back to the society. It should be used for development. That is it.
But then you also know that can be taken to ensure that returned loot is not relooted.
And that's why we are saying that they should tell us what they have done with the ones they have received so far.
All right then. Ikoyi in darkness as substation catches fire. Ooh. And that's like one of the eyebrow parts of Lagos. Well, let's hope that is fixed. But it's something that even in different parts of the country, the rural area, different places experience this kind of thing. So we hope that the same speed with which this one is attended to, cases of this nature will be attended to in other parts of the country. Police begin screening of 130,000 for 6,000 jobs. Yes, the president did give a directive that we should get more officers, more people recruited into the Nigeria police force.
That will not solve the problem. Because 6,000 police to 180 million people. The current number of police is hovering between 300 to 350,000. That is too small for a country of 180 million people.
But don't you think it's a good way to start? At least you start something and then progressively you make...
how old is this country?
How old is the country?
It's 58 years by October.
So?
A country of that is 58 years old, see having a police strength of 350. That is way below United Nations recommendation
but
of 101 police to 100 persons.
Right, but one thing is that I believe it has to be progressive. I mean, would one just decide, okay, want to employ, want to recruit 1 million people to join the police force?
What we are saying that duty should be consigned, should be deployed to the states. The states should take control of policing.
All right then.
Yeah.
Firm probes codeine production. Above the masthead, Milai remanded in police custody. Lawyer held for killing husband in Lagos. 3 feared dead in Ibadan hoodlums clash. Senate House to pass budget next week. Of course, we talked about this currency swap deal between Nigeria and China. NERC to review electricity tariff soon. Or your speaker buried. And England versus Nigeria, it's more than a game. I so look forward to Russia 2018. I hope our guys will be able to make us proud.
We hope so too.
All right, then that is it from the dailies. Thank you very much for watching. We'll take another break. When we come back, it will be discussion time. 2 issues we're looking at today: police versus Dino Milaye and Ekiti governorship election. Join us. We'll be back in a moment.
On the dailies this morning, Nigerians encourage corruption, says June first up the punch newspaper. Amendments Nigerian Governors Forum calls for Obasanjo Idiala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The dailies every day on CoreTV News.
Hi, I am Anete Patrick, host of your program Abuja Today, that brings you highlights of happenings in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory from the office of the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
I appeal to all of us citizens, leaders, politicians, and all to support this team to be able to restore the Abuja Master Plan.
To the streets that involves every boy, every girl, every man, every woman, and every youth on the streets, unfolding of happenings in the nation's capital territory.
Our challenge here is kidnapping, and the secret is there. It's a very short journey. You don't have to go as far as Abaji before you know what is happening in Kuji.
All of us, we don't know, in short, we don't know where to put head. Because definitely our children, they are hungry.
So join me at this time on CoreTV as we take you on a tour on Nigerian seat of power.
On Deji 360, we don't just ask the questions.
What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it?
We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action.
People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country. I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly. God forbid that I go to join that ballot.
Deji 360, providing clarity to issues.
The judiciary, third arm of government. What happens here is what we give to you. The arraignments, arguments, rulings, adjournments of cases and judgments. The fight against corruption and issues bordering on human rights violations.
The doctrine of least spenders ought to have been respected, that no arm of government, however powerful, should take the law